Hey guys, I'm here today to show you just a little bit how I use the DS-10 in some of my productions. We're going to take a little look at this beat I made for my Instagram channel. I made it with my synths over there and just some samples I downloaded from Splice. The DS-10 for me really helps me make some of my samples that I download customized for whatever use I'm using them in. So for example, like if a snare is if there's too much ring at the end, or there's a little room sound or reverb or whatnot, it allows me to kind of tighten up the sound. Or if the bass drum, that sample that I download, I like it, but I want it to be more punchy, but I don't really want to use compression or do anything else, it allows me to just quickly dial in exactly what I'm looking for. So if I'm looking more of an attack at the beginning of the bass drum, or if I'm looking for a lot of times, like by the time everything's processed with compression and limiting and all the way down the chain, the bass drums can sometimes have, especially these samples, they can be too long. So if, like with this plugin, you can make it sound like they're shorter and tighter. And then obviously with the DS-10, you can also use the bus feature, which allows you to kind of dial in some color and more punch. You can sustain things, adjust the attack. And then of course the beautiful little Mojo dial is pretty fun to mess around with. So let's just take a look at this beat I made. Here it goes, sounds like this. Okay, cool. So it already sounds pretty good. So I've got some samples here that I downloaded from Splice and arranged. Got a Boy Wonder kick, and I got a great Maxwell snare. Shout out to Maxwell. The snare already sounds really great. I got a clap and 2 hi-hat loops. Sounds pretty good. Let's put it on kick, and let's add more of an attack and less sustain. With, without. Both are nice, but maybe in the end, that extra added attack and less sustain is going to actually fit the production better. Let's add some Mojo. Dial it back. Cool, let's move on. Let's put on the snare. So in this case, I actually think that sustain is nice. It brings out the end of that like kind of tambourine-y, clanky sound. Hi-hat rather. With. Let's hear kick and snare together. Sick. Now let's check out this clap. I like the clap, but you'll hear the room, there's some room reverb at the end here, which you may or may not like. In this case, I'm thinking maybe the DS-10 can help me here. Much tighter. That room sound was cool, but now it sounds more like, it's that tight 70s style, like claps right in front of the microphone. Love it. Without. With. With kick and snare and clap. That's just great. Cool, let's move on. Let's put it on the hi-hat. Loop. So already it's feeling a little swampy. It's not feeling like, I like it when the hi-hats are a little more crisp. So let's put on, we can try these different settings, but let's put it maybe on the bus setting for right now. Already better. Let's check out the Mojo. So that's with it, without. Lazy. Not lazy. Love that. Let's put on this last tambourine and snap loop. Perfect use for the bus feature. Let's go classic. So increasing the sustain brings out some of the kind of depth of the reverbs. Bring it back in. That's cool. Ooh. Nice and punchy. Really, really nice. All right, so listen to the whole drum loop now with all the DS-10s. Cool. Now let's listen to it in context with the whole track. Cool. Let's do one final thing. Let's group everything together into a drum bus. Now let's apply this whole thing to the drums, kind of like a drum bus compressor. Kind of like the smooth version. All right, now let's listen in context with everything. We've got the DS-10 on every channel, including the bus. Pretty sweet. Let's listen to it now without any of the DS-10 stuff on it. It sounds good, it's not as fat and punchy without. I miss it. Cool, and now, of course, let's finish by listening to it with. So there you have it. To me, it sounds way fatter, way punchier, and I love that it's such a simple plugin. And basically, any sample that you're kind of already into, you can use the DS-10 to customize its sound for your production. And you're not using EQ or compression. You're using a plugin that has like 3 dials and a couple different settings. I use this plugin on not just drums, but synths, vocals. You kind of name it. Anything. It's a great transient shaper. I highly recommend it, and have funk.